Okay, so now we come to our next subtitle, The Odd Presidency of John Tyler. John Tyler does preside over a rather unusual time in American history. First, a lot of controversy in his presidency. He does not get along very well with Congress. Congress does not like him very much because he refuses to listen to them. So let's start with the death of the National Bank. Congress once again attempts to recharter the National Bank, which of course was dismantled under Jackson years before. They pass it twice, but Tyler vetoes both of those laws. And eventually they get so frustrated with him that all of Tyler's cabinet resigns in protest of this move, except for one, Daniel Webster, who stays, which is a little bit weird because Daniel Webster actually kind of liked the National Bank and supported the National Bank, was upset when Jackson got rid of it. That's a little odd. The independent treasury, which was Van Buren's answer to the National Bank, his slight attempt to replace it, is later also repealed under John Tyler. So they're left with no central banking, and it will stay that way up until Woodrow Wilson. Tyler, though, later does force Webster out in 1843, not about the National Bank at all, but rather about the annexation of Texas, which Webster opposes. Then we move on to another odd incident during John Tyler's presidency, the death of part of his cabinet. So in February of 1844, Tyler is showing off a new gunboat on the Potomac River, the USS Princeton. And while they're out in the river, there are a ton of dignitaries on board, and they have two guns on board. One of them, the Peacemaker, which we'll see is a little ironic, and the other one, the Oregon. And they fire these guns multiple times during this showing off of the boat, this pleasure cruise down the Potomac on a warship, I suppose. And the fourth time they set it off, the Peacemaker gun explodes when it's lit and kills 4 people on board, including a few of Tyler's own cabinet. He loses his Secretary of State, not Webster. Webster's gone at this time, and Secretary of the Navy. And also, Tyler is on board, so this comes pretty close to being a second president dying pretty quickly. But he also catches a woman who is blown backwards during the explosion, one Julia Gardner. Her father actually dies in the explosion. We'll talk about her more in a little bit. He then takes the opportunity to very quickly rebuild his cabinet. He now has John C. Calhoun, an ardent Southerner, as the Secretary of State. In fact, he includes no Northerners whatsoever in his cabinet, leading to further tension. And he has just 2 goals for the remainder of his administration. He wants to annex Texas, and he wants to win the Southern vote to secure his election. We can't say re-election because, of course, he hasn't been elected to the presidency yet.